Welcome back to the show. We are your hosts, Dharshini and Anitha. And today I'm really excited to sit down with Joanne, who has been coaching for more than 8 years. We are going to dive into her journey, the lessons she learned, and some of the challenges she faced along the way. Let's jump in. Hi, Joanne. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Awesome. This is your first question, Joanne. You have been coaching for more than a decade, like more than 8 years, you said. What inspired you to step into this field?
Well, after losing a few family members and a few jobs, I was looking for something to give my life more meaning, actually. And I came across an invitation to attend a 3-day conference out in California. It was being hosted by Mary Morrissey, who had been following on and off over the years. So I knew that it wasn't just your typical scam. In fact, she's been teaching transformational development for people for over 40 years. So I knew that it was a good opportunity. And while I was there, in fact, the name of the conference was the Dream Builder Live. And I thought, I could use some dreaming in my life right now. So I went out there and they extended an invitation to become a life coach. And the thought of not only helping people, but the fact that that could also lead to a potentially unlimited income all put together sounded like a perfect combination for me. So I dove in and decided that this really seemed like the right path for me.
Okay, looks like you have such a good heart, and that's a really inspiring journey. I think a lot of listeners will be able to connect with you on that. Looking back, what's kept you motivated and passionate after all these years?
Well, I do have a heart for helping others and had discovered basically that the corporate box wasn't something that I wanted to be a part of anymore. I tend to be rather independent and not exactly a rule follower. So the when you're working a corporate job, which is great for a lot of people, had ideas beyond that, and there was no opening for those type of ideas. And so I knew that it just was far too limiting for what I wanted from my life. And they pretty much told me that in many ways by, when I tried to bring up some of those ideas, it was like, oh, you're gone. It was one of those situations where, they say that first there's a feather to tell you what's different in your life or what should be different in your life. And if you ignore that, then you get a brick. And if you ignore that, then you get the brick wall. And by being let go of a few jobs, I'd say my brick walls were there. So it forced me kind of to look out and see what else might be out there for me. And so I have pretty much probably 98% at least sworn off the whole idea of doing a corporate job again in my life. So that's where I'm at now, as much as it's certainly not an easy road to be an entrepreneur, but it seems to be where I need to be.
I love that, Joanne. It's like it's nobody wants to be in that cage, Everybody wants to fly out
Yeah,
and
exactly.
free themselves.
And I
That's
feel like that
amazing.
we were meant to fly. And
Yeah.
the fact that there are so many rules that basically hold you captive, far too limiting for the life that I think that most of us, all of us, are actually meant to be living.
Yeah, I can truly understand your what you feel and how you felt and why you wanted to come out of the corporate thing. I can understand that.
Yeah.
But let's move on to the next question, Joanne. So this is like, how do you most of your clients usually find you these days?
Well, I've unfortunately not recently too much, but I've posted some on Facebook. I've begun to expand a little bit over to LinkedIn, but I also have my own website. It's loveyourlifecoaching.co. It's not com, it's co.
Okay.
But I was fortunate to be gifted by the company, the Brave Thinking Institute, that certified me. They gifted us with a website, and I've been able to personalize it to become mine. And it's a beautiful site. So, I mean, it's got pretty much, there are still a few tweaks that can be made, but progress, not perfection, is the biggest, one of my biggest messages, I think, that we should all be thinking about. It's like, I don't believe that there is such a thing as perfection. And
Mm.
in fact, Tony Robbins often says that that is the lowest bar because it gives you an excuse not to take action. And so the biggest thing is let's move forward, even if it's baby steps.
Got it.
That's awesome, Joanne. It's it's the best way to expand, like using the social media, and you're already doing that. But like the technology is expanding, so yeah, we
Yes,
need to keep growing until we are in this
very fast
generation.
almost.
Moving on to the next, I
Mhm.
have like a question. I have two parts. I want to ask you, what's the part of coaching that brings you the most joy, and what part feels more challenging?
Yeah. Well, the part that gives me the most joy is when I can shed a little bit of light on a different perspective for somebody, maybe something that they haven't thought of. And if that begins to crack them open just a tad and begin to think that there's so much more to life than their current circumstances. We are powerful beings, and we've got so much more that we can be doing with our lives. And if I can just begin to see that crack open just a little bit with somebody, that makes me feel like that I've accomplished something, because I'm not here to tell anybody how to live their life. I believe that we're all instinctively know how we should be living our life and what we should be doing. And my job is to help you to discover that for yourself and to help you pull that out of yourself and realize that life is so big, and the bigger your dreams, the more you can realize those dreams. So, and I would say that the most challenging is kind of to get people to realize that you just got to have that little bit of crack in your shell to allow some of those, those new ideas to come in. Um, and you can truly live a life that you absolutely love living. And unfortunately, I think we've been taught so much fear in our life. You have to go out and live the American dream, quote unquote, which in most people's eyes is go to college, get a job, have a family, have that good job. And that's the American dream. And I believe that it's so much more than that. I think that if we just let ourselves dream and move in the direction of, even if something as small as, I've always wanted to learn how to play the piano. Even something that small can be a dream for somebody. And once they start moving in that direction, who knows what opportunities might open up for them. But you have to take some of those first steps to get where you need. And we, as a society, we've been so programmed to
Exactly.
fear the world, and oh, I can't afford that, and it's like we allow our circumstances to dictate what we can do with our life instead of the dreams that we have and moving into those dreams.
It looks like we are not living in our life. We are living in others'
Yeah,
framework or whatever so-called life.
it's like what people expected of us. It was always expected of us to do, and even unfortunately you see parents who basically put their dreams on their children and expect them to live that dream for them. And it's like, no, that was your dream. That should have been you living that,
Yeah,
you
true.
know, and it's not your place to put it on to the next generation. That's something that was put in your heart. You go live that dream. It's scary to me to see when parents have kind of done that with their children, and It's like, oh, I expect you to be a doctor, for instance. And it's like, and so the kid doesn't know anything beyond that. And so they go for it. And then they're like, wait, this is not my dream. I have other thoughts and dreams, and I think more people should allow the dreams to come out of people, everybody. I mean, not just your children, but everybody, I think, was put on this earth with a dream in their heart, and that is your purpose in life. It seems tiny to you.
Yeah.
It can mean so much to so many.
Yeah, I understand. I completely relate what you are saying because for me, I was living in the same. Like you have to be a doctor, you have to
Right.
marry this guy, your life has to be like this. I can totally understand what you're
Yeah.
saying.
And I
So
think it's unfortunate, but we're all also living what we know.
yeah.
And so for me, it's let's try and start beginning to open people's minds just a little bit to the possibility that, okay, that may have been your life up until now, but that doesn't have to write the rest of your life.
Mhm.
You may still have 30, 50 years or whatever. Go out and live your dreams. Don't feel like that you have to live this life just because that's where you've been up until now.
Yeah, I
So
understand. Okay, let's move on to the next question, Joanne. Over the years, how have you seen the way people look for a life coach change?
I think that one's a really tough one for me. Because I think, of course, as technology changes, people are looking in different directions. Because, say even 10 years ago, we didn't have near the opportunities with all the social media, the different forms of social media and that kind of thing. We were so much more limited. It's funny that one of my mentors from a distance, so to speak, but is Dean Graziosi, and he's one of these people that say 20, 30 years ago, he had to go out and create an infomercial and spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to create an infomercial to put on TV to get the word out. And now it's simplified and we can put a message out on Facebook and it can go to anywhere from one person to 100,000 and more. And so it's all free, even though it's like sometimes it has the reach and sometimes it doesn't. But we don't have to put out near the financial, I guess, is the biggest piece of it. We don't have to uh, have that financial outlay that they maybe had 10, 15, 20 years ago.
Definitely, it's not the same what has been few years ago or like decades ago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of easy now. It looks easy at least.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
exactly. And
yeah.
that's a lot of it too, is that it looks easy and so we're almost flooded with,
It's more competitive.
oh, absolutely, because it's funny, I've been thinking too, I'm like, there are as many products out there as there are people, and to try and weed through what is good for me versus what I can let go of gets gets very complicated. It's like, it's used to be an easy thing to, somebody makes a phone call, I can say no and it's done, but it's like now we're scrolling through Facebook and Instagram and some of the others and everything, everybody has a product, and so trying to decipher which ones are specifically for me is
Yeah,
is
yeah.
really
Whatever is in our mind comes on our phone. The next
yeah,
moment it
seriously.
comes on the phone. Have to be very careful.
I mean, and don't
Exactly.
hesitate
What's
on
your
any
thoughts?
because you get flooded with more of those.
Exactly.
Just watching your thoughts.
It's
Exactly, yeah. I would ask you the next question, Joanne. Would you say your biggest challenge right now is more about attracting new clients or about managing your time and energy with the ones you already have?
I think definitely attracting the clients because like I said, everybody's being flooded with all of this information and they're also somewhat kind of stuck on that quote unquote American dream of, well, this is how my life should be. This is, this is what was set up for me when I was a kid. And how dare I begin to think beyond that? And so just getting people to even begin to accept some of the concepts of, your life can be so much bigger and so much more full. And, when you say full, it's like, it's full enough. I'm overwhelmed the way it is. But it's like, no, we've been taught just in, say, money, for instance, it's like we've been taught money doesn't grow on trees. Money's a bad thing. That's not at all true. It's like money is nothing more than energy being exchanged. And there are people out there who are making a lot of money who are also making huge differences in the world. Because the more money you have, the more you can help others and you can contribute to causes and that kind of thing. Money is not the enemy. I mean, and it's pretty much the same with almost anything. If we open our minds up to the possibilities of things, like I said, energy is all around and it's how we choose to use that. So
Got it. Yeah, it's all about how you choose to do.
That's a tricky balance, running the business side while still giving your best to clients as well. So,
and along with that, it's like, as long as we continue to follow the expectations of those that came before us who didn't know any better, we're actually missing out on the true meaning of our existence. The fact that, and I missed his name, but anyway, Trent Shelton says too, he said, think of it this way. He said, if I had a pair of glasses and I put those on you, you are not going to be able to see with my glasses because
exactly.
My dream was put in my heart and your dream was put in your heart. And if we try and swap those dreams, we'd never see it. And so I believe that our existence is to follow those dreams and to reality, even if just on a small scale, just to make a difference in the world.
Yeah. So let's move on to the next question, Joanne. When you stay in touch with clients or leads, what feels more natural to you, like emails or phone calls or something more personal?
Yeah. Well, I am absolutely a fan of face to face, even if it has to be through computer. Some of my best friends are on the other side of the world, and I've only met them through the computer. But I think that just that face to face interaction is huge because mannerisms and intonation and all of that goes along with when you're actually talking to somebody face to face, you lose so much of that when you're writing something out in text form. But there are people too who, are just not comfortable in front of a camera. They've never been in front of a camera. And so I have to respect that with my clients that this may not be how they are accustomed to interacting. But again, if I can kind of break that open just a little, and even if it's, I'm the only one looking at you and it's okay. I am not going to judge you for what you look like at this moment and help them to realize that the camera is not such a scary thing. So there are options in the world. And I think that if we, again, open ourselves up to some of those possibilities, it's like, life can be so much richer and fuller.
Yeah, it has both plus and minus, right? Like if you have
Absolutely.
online, you can have variety of clients all over the world.
Yeah.
And like if you see them face to face, then you will like restricted or area. But like both has its own positive and negative things.
And how somebody is on social media doesn't necessarily say that that's how they're going to be when you're face to face with them. We have probably more personalities than we want to care to admit to, so to speak.
Very true. Yeah. I want to ask you the next question. If tomorrow you had a steady, consistent flow of clients, what would that free you up from, like focus more into your coaching?
Mostly to create or to, by getting feedback from them, create more content and more information that will help them in the long run, because unless you're speaking directly with a person, you don't have any idea maybe what their hurdles are. We're all individuals in this world, and we've all had our own crosses to bear, so to speak. And just realizing that, as much as I want to believe that, oh, I can help people because I've been through this and this, that may be not even close to some of the things that they've been through. And so just even getting some of that feedback from them and finding newer ways to help them through that. Because even with death, for instance, it's like I've lost my parents and a sister, but I haven't lost a child. I haven't lost a significant other. It's different. And just seeing kind of where they're coming from on some of that. Um, as much as I believe that anybody who's worth anything wouldn't want us to be buried in that grief, it's like I get too that this is your person, and this is, and if you've lost a spouse, for instance, it's completely different than having lost a parent or a sister. And that, but at the same time, it's like I firmly believe that the only wish they'd have for you would be to live a happy life. If not for yourself, do it for them, because they don't want to see you buried in grief for years and years. That to me would make me feel, if I was the one who had passed away, I would be like, how dare you waste your life? And it's like, we're not guaranteed any specific time with any person on this earth. So you kind of have to take it that way and kind of roll with it, so to speak. Yeah, the grief is very real, but it's also something that doesn't have to take over our lives. I think that there's ways to live life without being buried in that ourselves.
Mhm. That's true. I can relate it, and most of the people can relate what you're trying to tell. So that's a beautiful vision. And let's move on
It,
to the next
it just makes
question.
me sad to see, yeah, it makes me so sad to see people just torn up and for like years after. And I'm like, and I get where they're coming from. But
Yeah,
at the
that.
same time, it's like I can look back, and every once in a while I'll catch a mannerism that was my sister's or my mom's.
Mhm.
And it makes me smile now, because I'm like, they're here with me. They always will be. But even if they can't be in physical form,
Mhm.
I had them for a time, and that was all I was allowed. And I need to move on with my life and make the most of what I have left.
Yeah, the life has to keep move on, and we have to. Yeah, at one point, like we have to know what we are. What maybe you told before, right? Like the purpose for your life.
Yeah.
We need to find that and keep moving on.
Yeah. And I think really we all have probably many purposes in life. At this point in my life, this might be my purpose, but 10 years down the line, it might be completely different.
Mhm.
But if we don't move forward by taking even baby steps, we'll
You'll be,
never know that.
no, you'll be stuck actually.
Yeah. I mean, and who wants to be stuck? I think that's unfortunately where some of the suicides come from. It's like, people aren't realizing that there is more to life, that they can do more. We are powerful beings. And like you were saying earlier,
Mhm.
just thinking, even if you look around the room and you've got, a desk and a computer, and those were all thoughts before they were things. So they were created twice. And so it's like, if you can think a thing, then you can create that thing.
Yeah,
And so it's like, life is so much bigger than we could even imagine.
I can understand that. And the life keep moving. That's what
Mm.
the people has to do.
Take
No
those
matter
baby
what.
steps. They're important.
No matter what, keep going. Just move forward. Next
Mm.
question, Joanne. What is the one big hurdle you are facing in your business right now, and what do you think could make it easier?
Unfortunately, I think my biggest hurdle is how fast technology is moving and
Mm-hmm.
trying to keep up with so many different aspects of a business, for instance. Um, and I would love nothing more than to have a virtual assistant who can do a lot of that technical stuff for me. Right now, it's not happening, but it's like, it's one of my dreams. One day I'm going to have somebody that can take care of all those, the emails and the all the technical stuff. And especially, like I said, as it advances, every day there's new advancements. And it's like, I'm getting a little older and it's like I used to be a tech person back when it was a little easier.
Oh, now it's like every day new AI or new technology comes. We have to
Yeah,
keep learning, and we have to be keep updating ourselves.
but you have to know what's going on.
Yeah, or else you will be left behind. If you don't know
Yeah.
anything or if you miss something, then you'll be left
Yeah.
behind.
I mean, and I've begun using AI, but not near to its potential. I
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know the full potential of what it can do, but I'm like,
Yeah.
at least I feel like I've dipped my toes in and I'm like using it to a point. But I
Mhm.
know that it has so much more potential and it's getting better every day.
Mhm. Yeah.
You have so much of clarity of the current world and like on the AI and yeah, I like a lot of entrepreneurs are like struggling with the same thing, like with the technology and things have become easy with AI, but like there is a lot of things that's coming up every single day. So we have to
Yeah,
keep up
and
with
it's just
that. Darshini said, have to keep up with it, otherwise you'll be left behind.
absolutely, and and it would be so easy just to go, I don't need that stuff, but I'm like, I want to be able to give my clients the best possible version of me and what I have in my business. And I'm like, so I have spent way too many hours messing with like my website to try and bring it up to speed, but it's not perfect. There's still some hiccups there that I'm working on. But I've kind of had drilled into me too. Progress, not perfection. And so it's like, the most important thing in life is to take those baby steps when you can and don't ever even consider. I mean, I've said for years, I will never be perfect because there is no perfection. It's like we're all
Exactly.
doing the best that we can with what we have, and that's all we can do.
Very true. Yeah, my last question is also very much related to that. Like, if you could give one piece of advice to the life coaches, like today's life coaches, what would you be?
Mostly be present, be available, be visible. And I think, in fact, I struggle with that a lot myself. Just being visible so that people can find you. Um, give them what you can so that they are attracted to you because in today's world, you're not going to sell somebody unless you know how to sell yourself. And so to me, in fact, I've spent several years actually working more on developing me more and becoming more clear with who I am so that I can share that with with any potential clients that might come up because until I know more about me, I certainly can't help them to become more of themselves. So I think that's huge right now, especially with the social media and all that, is to become visible and serve them.
Very true, Daya.
Yeah,
That is a very humble answer.
That's all we can do.
that's true. It's actually it's very helpful for other people, whoever is coming new or they have already struggling. They will know like, okay, not just us struggling with it. It's like a lot of people are doing it, and we have to face that, and we have to overcome it,
Yeah.
and
And I mean,
try to present for it.
I feel like we're all struggling in our own way.
Yeah,
And we may look at somebody and go, they don't have any problems in life, but we don't know about
we don't know
somebody.
about
Maybe
them.
they just
Yeah.
lost somebody, or maybe, they're having trouble putting the next meal on the table. we don't know that by simply looking at somebody. So we have to assume that they're having their own issues, and it's not for me to decide whether their issues are better or worse than mine, because we're all individuals and we're all doing the best that we know how. And even if, say, somebody like spouts off at you for some reason,